Oh, that's interesting. All right. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Mark.
I think you might be muted. There we
Yep.
go.
Yep, fixed it. How are you doing these days?
I am doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thanks.
Have you been over to the senior center?
Yeah, I was there on Friday. It was like a three-ring circus. It was really something.
Oh,
I was working on the lunch distribution.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Then
yeah,
we had the flu clinic, and then we
yeah,
had the food boxes.
yeah.
It was fabulous. Their energy is unflagging.
Yeah, you're right. We've really got some great staff over there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the senior center partially opened yesterday.
The fitness center, right?
The fitness center, right. And then Mary Jo is working on meeting with instructors
Mhm.
to talk to them about, right now we're in our fall 1 session of classes, and most of them have been taking place. There's not a lot, but there's a few exercise classes that have been taking place outside in the hockey rink. But we're not going to be able to, we're not going to have too many more days like today.
No.
Yeah. So I think October 26th, which was in about 2 weeks, is when she's hoping to start moving some, predominantly the exercise classes back inside.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we're also looking at potentially using the community center, because the interest level in some of those exercise classes exceeds the capacity of the room. So
Yeah.
they're looking at potentially doing some classes, depending on registration numbers, moving those into the gym at the community center.
Super.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it was always an issue for stretch, strength, and balance that you always wanted to register for the next session. The minute registration opened,
Yeah.
always was sold out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was interested in your note, the memo you sent about the Tanglewood boat access.
Oh, yeah.
I'm dating myself. My brothers and I used to swim there,
Oh, okay.
and we also used to carry our dinghy down there to go rowing.
Oh, so was that before there was a road down there?
I'm trying to remember. There was I think it was more like gravel, or
Oh, yeah,
I don't think it was really paved.
you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, that it was gravel at one time, because I found a file folder that had some old memos and notes and whatnot, and there was an exchange of emails about how the road had been washed out and it needed to be fixed and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think at one point it was gravel, and then at some point they must have paved it to deal with the issue of it washing out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Hi, Angela.
Hi,
Hi, Angela.
how are you?
Nice to see you without a mask.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, it's nice to be without a mask,
That
Yes,
too.
it is.
even if it's only in your house.
Yeah. Thank you for understanding. I couldn't make the last one. I was passing a kidney stone, so I wasn't sure.
Oh,
Like, it was the big one or would I need to go to the hospital, but it ended up coming out on its own.
Oh,
Oh,
I've never
Oh.
had one, but I've heard they're pretty painful, and I would have to think that even a little one would be painful.
exactly.
Yeah, they're not great.
Yeah.
So I felt like kind of wincing through the meeting the whole time wasn't going to be
Uh,
productive.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, my.
Hmm.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Dom.
Hey,
Um,
All right, should we, can we begin our meeting?
Well, oh, wait. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got somebody. Kate Hewitt. I was expecting, oh, there's Fran. Okay. There she is. Hey, Fran. Oh,
you're on mute, Fran.
yeah. Has anyone been contacted by a Kate Hewitt? I have somebody that's trying to talk, or that she's listed as an attendee.
not I.
No.
No.
Yeah, so I ran into this situation at the GAB meeting 2
Yeah.
times ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little hesitant to allow this person into the meeting because it was not very good the last time.
I feel like that name sounds oh, she says she's from the CT Examiner newspaper.
Huh. Okay. Oh, okay.
Fran, I don't think you have your microphone on.
Hi, I'm Kate Hewitt from CT Examiner newspaper. Okay, well, I guess I will allow her to talk. Oh, is that Kate or Fran that's?
Fran's got her mute
Oh,
on.
okay.
I'm
Kate,
muting. I'll unmute when I need to come.
Okay, Kate, I'm sorry. I don't think anyone was able to understand what you were saying. It was all-
That was Francis. Can you hear me? That was Francis talking, it said. This is Kate.
Oh, okay.
Hi. So I'm interested in the Pratt building. What's going to happen with that? I wrote a story about that last fall. So I saw it was on your agenda. So I just wanted to check in and listen to your meeting tonight so I can see where that's going.
Okay. That sounds terrific.
And but I'm just going to mute myself because I don't want you guys to get all that feedback and all that. So I'm just going to mute myself. Unless you want, if you want me to talk, let me know and I'll unmute. But,
Okay.
okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you for introducing yourself.
Fran, I think you're still muted. There you go.
Oh, I guess that is Fran.
Mm.
I'm gonna stay muted unless
Huh.
Is that okay?
Fran, your internet connection is up to its old self.
All right, so let me do this. I'll
Oh, that's
mute
good.
and can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds clear.
I'll if you're not able to hear me moving forward, I'll in from my phone like I've done in the past, and probably around 7:30 I'm gonna have to because my husband's gonna go on a Zoom and that just shuts my sound down. So
Oh, okay. There's an RTM meeting tonight.
I believe so.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Fran, will you be able to take minutes after 7:30 or?
Yeah, I'll just dial in and I'll be able to listen and talk if as long as you let me in so I can, and I'll put it in the chat if I have to do that.
Okay, well, I'll have to ask the rest of the commission if they want to allow you back in. I'm kidding.
You can kick me out. Someone else can take notes. I'm cool with that.
No, you're not getting out that easily.
Okay, let's call the
Can't
meeting
say I
to
didn't
order.
try.
Yeah,
Let's call the meeting to order at 7:06. And I think we know the roll call. So can we, anybody like to make a motion to, did everybody read the minutes? Did everybody get the minutes?
and
Yes.
Don, there's actually two sets of minutes. There's the minutes from the September meeting and the minutes from the July meeting
Okay,
that will need to be approved.
okay, well, why don't we take July's minutes first? Someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes for July?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Okay,
July.
Second motion?
okay, the minutes are approved for July. And for the September minutes, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes for September?
Before we do that, there's one typo on the first page of the minutes.
Okay,
The final paragraph. Citizen reached out about a permanent ramp as opposed to wrap.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
Third line from the bottom.
Okay, I'll find it eventually. Oh, wait,
Oh, I see
I'm
it,
looking at the
okay.
July meeting. That's why I can't find it. Okay,
Oh.
that would help if I was on the right meeting. Okay. Thank you. And Dom, you pointed out there was a spelling error also. Was that in the minutes?
no, that was in trends,
Okay, all right. We'll get to that then.
the draft for, but I guess that was by the consultants. Did they write that?
Well, that was actually a combination of taking information from the consultants and the staff pulling together information.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, let's back up and thank you, Elizabeth, for making note of that. Would anybody like to make a motion to accept the September minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes with the correction suggested by Elizabeth.
And I second the motion.
How about you, kitty cat?
I think she's pleased. Citizens petitions and comments. So I gather that Kate Hewitt would be considered in this section.
Yeah, we could, so that she doesn't have to stay on the line for the next 4
Right.
hours.
Sure.
Kind of jump down to the Pratt building.
Kate, if you'd like to unmute.
Sure. Yeah, I am interested in the Pratt building discussion, but it's very nice of you if you want to push that toward the top, but I don't expect you to do that, but
Sure.
thank you if you do.
Yeah, that's no problem. So, Kate, 6 months ago, where were we?
6 months ago, where were you? I don't know exactly where you were. I did write it. Well, let's see. I wrote about this in November last year. There was a developer interested in the space in the building to put residential into
Okay.
the building.
All right.
And I think it was Respar.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know how it's progressed a lot since then. So that's one reason why I'm checking in tonight. I mean, I realize you're Parks and Rec and you're not zoning, so you may not want to go in that direction. I don't know how you
Well, I
planning
can,
to do the discustion, but
yeah, I can certainly speak to what I'm aware of. There are a lot of moving parts, and the planning department, they could give you a better update of where they are on that end, but I can at least kind of fill you in since what's happened since November. So since that time, the town hired a consulting group to do a couple of different things. One, there was an engineering study which took place in February, and that they spent a day or so walking through, taking hundreds of pictures and doing an assessment of the condition of the building. The building's been closed for, I'm actually not sure how many
I
years.
think it's been since 2011 from what I read.
Okay, thank you. So yes, it closed in 2011. There's been a lot of decay in the building. The roof was leaking, and there was, water issues and a number of other issues that were identified in the engineering report. The consulting team also did a needs assessment, and that took place in, I think, late spring, early summer. There was a needs assessment which included some focus group meetings, some stakeholder meetings, and a statistically valid survey. There were 400, I'm sorry, there was 4,000, I think, surveys sent out. They got back 400, and they were random, people were randomly selected from the community. We got 400 back from invitations, and I think another 300 from online surveys. So we got back a total of 700 surveys. Now, and what the consulting team did was they looked at they analyzed the results for just the online portion, and they analyzed the results for the invitation only. And then they looked at the results from, they did a side-by-side comparison of the two survey results, and they were nearly identical in the responses and the percentages that replied. So we have a statistically valid needs assessment which identifies what the community is looking for. Following that, there was a visioning session with the Parks and Recreation staff to get their input into what they thought the building should look like in order to meet the community needs. Following that, the consulting team had brought on an architectural firm out of New Haven, Peary Associates, and they have put together 3 conceptual plans, which the department saw a few weeks ago, and we provided feedback to them. And this past Monday, that same presentation that was given to the staff was given to Respler, and some of their architectural firm that they've hired, and a couple of other members of their team. They are currently looking at those conceptual designs and are going to provide some feedback to the architect, I think by the end of next week. And the one other step that is going to be taking place is there's going to be a feasibility study. So they're going to look at the proposed spaces, the proposed uses, and figure out what it's going to cost to operate the building and what the anticipated revenue would be for that building. So that's kind of where we are now. I can't speak to any of the other parts of it because I just haven't been involved in the planning, the zoning regulations and all of those components that go into a project of this size.
Gotcha. Great. So, it was on tonight's agenda just so that you guys.
Yeah, so traditionally what we've done monthly is I will just update the commission on what's taken place since the last meeting, and they have actually heard a lot of this already because I told them when the needs assessment was and whatnot. So tonight, what has taken place since our meeting in September was that we looked at 3 different concepts, and that was pretty much the update that I was going to provide them tonight.
So when you say concepts, do you mean a conceptual view of the building and grounds?
Yes, they're focused primarily on the building itself because that was what was identified in the scope of work. And, so they know what space is there, and they're looking at how they can best reconfigure that based on the visioning session with the staff and also the needs identified by the town. And so they came up with 3 conceptual, very nice looking drawings. None of those have been shared publicly yet. And because it does involve, there is some tie-in to the greater project, and they're not ready to share that information. They're still developing the master plan, so there's really no point in sharing something that may or may not be present in the final round.
So the architect is developing the master plan?
Not the architect, that
Or is it
there's 2 separate architectural firms. There's
Yep.
one that was hired by the town to come up with conceptual level designs for the Pratt building. And then the Ressler group, they have their own architect that is doing the master plan for the rest of the space.
Gotcha, yeah. Okay, so none of the drawings are public yet. That's what you're telling me.
That
No
is correct.
rules yet. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
It's very helpful.
Oh, good. And yeah, I guess if you want information about the planning, you should probably reach out to either Paige Bronk or John Reiner, both with the town of Groton.
Okay, yep. I'm familiar with John Reiner. I've spoken with him
Okay.
before, so I can call him. Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That was terrific. I just learned a lot. So, and thank you for bumping it up on the to the top of the list. That was nice of you.
You're
No
welcome,
problem.
Kate.
All right.
Okay, moving right along. Did we get any town council referrals? I
Nope.
gather that's a no?
Yeah, that's a no.
Okay. Correspondence to the individual commissioners.
So I heard from a citizen, but it has to do with something on the agenda.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like we can just wait till we get to that area of the agenda.
Okay.
okay.
I was asked,
Oh, Fran, we only heard that you were asked. I want to type it in the chat.
It appears as though your mute is on again, Fran.
Oh, yeah.
so I unmuted and talked. Were you able to hear anything I said?
Yeah, we can hear, we
Now
heard
we
that
can.
you
Yeah,
asked.
First time around, all we heard was I was asked, and then it went blank.
Oh, okay. Let's try again. I was asked to ask if there have been any COVID-related cases associated with Parks and Rec, or if we've had to be involved in contact tracing any of the programs.
None that I have been made aware of. So
Okay. And
that's a good thing.
yes, definitely. And the other question I was asked from karate parents is what level of cleaning is happening with the mats in the gym?
That's a great question, and I don't have the answer for you right now.
Okay. And the last question was, there were emails going around from some of the people running the programs inside the community center saying that there was a change and that masks have to be worn all the time now inside the community center. Is that true across all the programs, or is it just karate?
No, I believe that's true across all of the programs.
I know it's true of the pickleball program.
Yeah.
Even not only coming into the building or into the gym, but while we are in the activity, we have to have the mask on as well.
That was all anybody asked me about. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions of any of the commissioners?
No.
Okay, then we go right into reports. And you're back on the big stage again, Mark.
Okay. So just to give you a couple of updates from the director's report, since this was printed and sent out, or just additional information from the report. As I mentioned, we're working on capital improvement projects for this year. The department heads have been instructed to submit only critical projects for the upcoming fiscal year. So I think the one project that we have put on the critical list is the bathroom at Sutton Park. We've not had a bathroom at Sutton Park in 19 years. And as a community park, I think it's time that we have a bathroom and not a portalette to serve the community at Sutton Park. So I intend to keep that request in for FYE 22. How far it gets, I have no idea. Last year, the council all said they were supportive of reinvesting in Sutton Park because the town has disinvested in that facility, and it shows. And unfortunately, the money was cut out from that last year. And we were proposing to do quite a bit more work. So I've just left in the bathroom, and I hope that will make it through. Last night, I attended a council meeting and got approval to submit a Connecticut Community Connectivity Grant. And that work, as described in the monthly report, is to extend the bike path from the trolley trail, which is in the Paquonic Bridge neighborhood, out to Midway Oval, going around, and there's a right-of-way that goes into Sutton Park, and creating a bike lane or bike path through Sutton Park all the way back out to Route 1 where the existing bike path is. So I'm going to submit that Friday morning. That grant comes to $344,000. A little over $344,000. So it's a fairly competitive grant. I think the state had 80 applicants the last round and gave out 40. So if the numbers are roughly the same, I guess we've got a 50-50 chance of getting it. So fingers crossed. We did get letters of support from a number of different groups that think that it's making that connectivity throughout the community is important and a good thing. And that was actually one of the items that scored, I think, second highest on identified needs in the community needs assessment. Monday, we are kicking off the rebranding of the senior center. Miranda Creative out of Norwich was hired. The selection committee, I think we all unanimously agreed that they were the best. We felt like they were the best match for this particular project for a couple of reasons. One, they're actually working on nearly identical projects for a couple of other community senior-based organizations that are looking at changing their name or rebranding. And also they have a strong partnership with Great Blue, who is the consulting firm that did the initial study for us that determined that one of the barriers to participation for those not attending programs was the fact that it was called a senior center. So we're pretty excited about that, and we'll be updating you throughout the next few months as that project goes through. I did want to point out one thing that hopefully you folks saw on the news. I think it was last week. There was a story, I think it ran actually or it was on a couple of different stations or for a couple of different days. There was a senior that about a year ago gave a consultant some money to build a ramp to her house. She provided him with probably a 50% deposit, which is what, or down payment, which is what most or contractors are asking for. And she never saw him again. And so she was having an extremely difficult time getting into her house. And I'm not sure how our senior center staff became aware of it, but anyway, they were able to reach out and get donations, I believe from Home Depot, and they got the Groton Police and the Pequannock Bridge Fire Department to assist in building her a ramp. And so she now has a ramp to her house. And so it was a nice story that was recognized in the news, which was a nice thing. Because a lot of the great work that the Senior Center does goes unnoticed to other than those that are directly impacted by their great efforts. So anyway, that was nice. I don't know if there's any other questions about the monthly report, anything that was in there that caught anybody's eye. Oh, I do want to, Dom had actually sent me a few questions that he wanted answered. And I guess at this point I'll talk about those. So one of the questions was the Groton Community Center playground. We have had a really difficult time finding lumber. I don't know if I go to Home Depot fairly often because my to-do list is actually multiple chapters. It's not just a list. And so I go to Home Depot fairly often. And the last few times I've been, I walked in and there's absolutely no wood, which is just amazing. So what we typically do is put 6x6s around the border of the playground and then put the chips in. We were actually able to get an order of 6x6s this week, and we have ordered the chips. So, and I think the chips may be delivered on Friday. So I'm hopeful that that playground will be open sometime next week, depending on the weather and other projects that the staff have going on. They know I've been pressing them to get that done because the community center is now open again. And, you know, I'm sure that there are some kids that are there that are anxious to use it. So we're moving towards getting that open.
Do we make it, I'm sorry, Mark, do we make it easy for private citizens to fund a need essentially? So when we have something like that, that is kind of an ad hoc project that there is a need for and a desire for from both citizens and the staff, is there a way that and I don't know what the rules are either for accepting donations for these types of projects. So, but is there a way that public citizens can easily donate for a specific project?
There is a Groton Parks Foundation, which was set up to support projects for the Parks and Recreation Department. And they have they're usually a conduit for, the money will get donated to the Parks Foundation because they're a 501c3, and then they turn around and, the money goes back out to pay for a particular project. The most recent example of that was the digital sign that's out in front of the senior center and library.
Mhm.
That was initiated by a couple of seniors at the center, and they reached out to the Groton Parks Foundation, and donations went to the foundation, and then the foundation cut checks to pay for some of the expenses associated with that.
So maybe the better question then is, how are we letting the public know that we have these needs?
Well, there's actually inside the community center on the wall, one of the walls, there's this giant tree with leaves on it, and it's called the Giving Tree. And
So, but if people don't go to the community center, they don't know about it, right? Like, so I don't use the community center, but I don't need to. There's nothing I need at the community center right now. I use outside, Mark, and
Okay,
actually that's one of the things I'm going to bring up, something about Pequot Woods, but
Okay.
But I don't go to the community center, but I support the community center,
Yeah.
right? Like, I want this to be a successful endeavor. And I'm sure that there are other citizens that kind of are in the same boat, right? It's not a service that they use, but they believe in it and they believe in what it stands for.
Yeah.
So still want to support the center, but they need to know about what the needs are, right? And just having it posted in the center
Right.
not be effective in gaining momentum and support
Yeah.
from the greater community.
So one of the things that we have been trying to do, and you attended the gala last year,
Mhm.
was to try to raise awareness of the fact that there's the Groton Parks Foundation, and that can be used to support parks and recreation programs. We definitely could do a better job of that, and I think, quite honestly, I think the board on the Groton Parks Foundation ought to be doing a better job of promoting it. We did work with them to create a website, which was, they never had any kind of presence on the internet, so people just weren't aware of it. But to your point, we could be doing a better job of getting that word out. And when people approach us, and I can think of two examples. One, there was a lady, I think last spring, who reached out to us. She had a son with special needs, and she talked about the playground at Pequannock Plains and the fact that there's no fence around it, and that she can't take her kids there because the one son with special needs tends to run off, and she can't be chasing him and watching her other kids. And so we said that we would support whatever effort or an effort to raise money, and we explained to her that we would use the Groton Parks Foundation. There was also a group of people that contacted us perhaps 6 weeks ago about a splash pad, and same kind of thing. We said, we immediately mentioned the Groton Parks Foundation, and I had attended a board meeting about, I guess it was last week, and I mentioned to them, that we were beginning to work with this group of families that were interested in the splash pad, and they were very interested in supporting that project. And so when people do reach out to us, and I think maybe that's the problem, is we're waiting for people to reach out to us, and we kind of need to flip the script, if you will, and reach out to folks. So I will make a note to and talk to Jessica.
Yeah,
Community
and
outreach
make it
coordinator.
easy too, right? Like, make it easy, be specific. We
Yeah.
need we need X number of 6-foot timbers. We
Yeah,
need
yeah.
this much wood chip.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me just interject that when you use the online registration system for Parks and Recreation, there is a section
Yes.
about donating, and it does list a whole menu of needs the department has.
Yeah.
And so people can add a few dollars or maybe a lot of dollars when they register for a program.
So I think that they need to market themselves a lot better
Yeah. I would
because,
agree.
like Angela said, people don't know about it. And
Yeah.
Elizabeth, I've been on the website. For the town of Groton, it has to be the worst website that I have ever been associated with.
It is a real problem. I agree with
The
you.
fact that you have to go through the town, number one, is awful. So the fact that rec doesn't have its own website, that senior center doesn't have its own website that one can go to. Yes, I know, Mark, they do, but again, you have to go through the town's drop down.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the number of people who have tried to sign up 6 and 7 and 8 months ago before COVID for a variety of things. And they say, you know what? I just gave up. Can I go to the senior center and sign up? Can I go here and sign up? It's just really something I think not only Park and Rec, but the town needs to work on. I don't know,
The accuracy
it's
is what drives
antiquated.
me crazy. It's not
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm Irish enough that I'm insisting on getting it fixed.
So I do have an update. The town is working towards getting a different website. And I've seen a kind of a beta version, and it's the one frustration with me is that, you know, there's this bar across the top and it's got, you know, departments and all these things. Well, you click on department and Parks and Recreation and the library is not listed under departments.
Oh,
And
come
I've
on.
complained and complained. They've got us under a separate category called something else. And it's just, oh, it's called, I think it falls under citizens. And I'm like, if I was going to this webpage to find out about Parks and Recreation, I would never click on citizens. I would
Right.
always go to departments. And for whatever reason, the decision was made, and I have not been able to get a clear answer as to who made that decision because it's just absurd. And so Parks and Recreation and the library are listed under citizens. So, and the other, Dom, to your point, Vermont Systems is not known for its particularly good customer. It's not particularly user-friendly, and we hear that fairly often. So I'd like to say we're maybe taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So at the end, we're a little bit better off. I don't think you will ever see us having our own website. I think because it's a town department, it's going to fall under the town's website. And I can't think of any other example where that wouldn't be the place unless you were talking about a park district, you know, that they have out in the Midwest.
Yeah. So I would get back to the foundation.
Yeah.
If Joe Citizen or Mr. and Mrs. Citizen wanted to donate, but they wanted to donate to a specific thing. Let's say they wanted to donate $5,000. Can they direct the money through the foundation for a specific program?
Yes.
Or they can? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So I want
they
this
can-
money, this $1,000 to go towards this particular project or program.
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, they will accept directed funds versus, undirected funds, I guess is maybe the term.
okay.
Yep.
Along with the other communications, Mark, I have to say I'm a little disappointed what I read about the golf practice area. Frankly, I think it was a little narrow on the narrow-minded
Mhm.
on the golf committees, the commission, that
Yeah.
they're not allowing other taxpayers to practice on that area.
Yeah.
And it's only for members and guests. It's not like it's overcrowded. I go by it twice or 3 times every day.
Yeah.
And what I think is narrow about it is that if you allowed people to do that, you're marketing yourself for people who are likely to join. And I'm just surprised that one of the 10 or 12 people that are on that golf commission didn't think of that. I mean, I'm actually stunned that they did not allow that one guy who's been doing it for, I think you said 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And now we've rejected him.
Yeah.
So Dom,
Yeah.
I'd actually put that motion forward because if
Okay.
members are paying for the privilege of using that, we are
Yeah.
doing a disservice to those
Yeah.
members if they are unable to use that practice area. And if your argument is that marketing, like leaving the practice open for other people who are not paying members, who have paid for the privilege of using that piece of land, is marketing, but there's been a gentleman using it for 4 years who's still not a member, then it's not an effective marketing tool. So it is a disservice if Shinnecock needs to build up a membership. You can't build up membership if you're giving it away for free. If you just let people use that practice area for free all the time, what's the incentive to become a member?
You don't know that you're saying that one guy that's used it for 4 or 5 years, proves that it's not a marketing tool. But you don't know the others that have used it and have joined. Or do
Right.
you?
I don't, but I
Okay,
don't
so-
think that that's the case. I don't think if that were the case, they would have had members pretty regularly joining, and they didn't have an increase in membership until COVID hit. And they were regularly allowing non-members to use that practice session or that practice area.
I don't think that's what Mark had stated.
The golf pro said that he was not enforcing that rule, even though it was a state and that's the other issue too, right? It
Mhm.
is a written policy. It's one of the policies of the club. So if it is a policy, you enforce the policy. If you don't want it to be a policy, you take the policy away. But if it is a policy and it's a posted policy, then it needs to be enforced.
Yep, and I'm disappointed that it wasn't taken down. And that's all I have to say about that, to be honest with you. Again, it's used so little. I mean, honestly, I live literally across the street from the golf course, and I go by it numerous times. It's very rarely used. You'll see
There are
one.
also member complaints that they were unable to use it. And I'm sorry, those member complaints take precedence over non-paying members who want to use it for free.
Thank you.
All right. So Dom, a couple other questions that Dom had is, does Parks and Rec ever reseed and fertilize the fields at GCC, the Groton Community Center? Yes, we do. And in fact, this fiscal year, we were able to get money to pay for regrading and reseeding and irrigating of that field. So at some point, we'll be taking that first field offline and putting and regrading and reseeding and putting in irrigation so that, because right now the field, and we've rolled the field with a giant steamroller because the field, it's not flat, and we've rolled it to try to flatten it out, and we have put seed down, but without having a reliable water source, it's extremely difficult to grow and maintain grass when you don't have consistent regular water. So yes, we have reseeded and we have fertilized, but we were able to get money to what I would say is going to taking it to the next level in raising the quality of that field.
Mark, which field was this? I missed the name.
Oh, it's, well, we call it Field 1. It's the field closest to Route 1, adjacent to the Groton Community Center.
Mark,
Thank you.
is the unreliable water source because there's not like an outdoor spigot, or is that still the issues with the water quality?
No, it's just that there wasn't an irrigation system, so we relied on Mother Nature to.
Oh,
So part of the money that was appropriated is going to pay for installation of an irrigation system like we have at Pequannock Plains. And so eventually that front field will look like Pequannock Plains. It will be nice and green, it will be irrigated, and it will be pitched so that the water, because right now there's humps and valleys and the water flows in and puddles and whatnot. So, and we get complaints regularly from different user groups. The high school soccer team, I think JV plays there, and I think maybe the girls practice, the women's practice there, and youth sports play lacrosse, and they all the coaches and everybody complains about how bad those fields are. But it used to be a school. The school's not in the business of really maintaining fields. They're in the business of education. So, the fields weren't a priority for them. So we're doing what we can with what the money we had, but now fortunately we've got more money so that we'll be able to significantly improve the quality of the fields. Dom had asked, are there outdoor programs in place? And the answer is yes, both at the senior center and at the community center. The senior center has been utilizing the hockey rink for various exercise programs, Tai Chi, cardio sculpt, and others. And the community center had their special recreation program. They've been meeting outside on the fields when the weather permitted. Dom had also asked about, are any groups presently using the community center? Exercise groups, karate, dance, writing, and the Treehouse, which is a Board of Education program that I think they're in there 4 days a week in a couple of classrooms. So all of those things that I listed have limited use, certainly not what we have seen as far as registration and number of programs in the past, but they are, it is getting used on a limited basis. He asked for an update on the well for the property dog park. I have had an extremely difficult time getting, I haven't been able to get a well driller to call me back. And I mentioned this at the Groton Parks Foundation Board of Overseers meeting last week, and none of them were actually surprised because they were all telling me that their neighbors are all having to have new wells drilled because of the drought, and their existing wells have dried up. So I'm still working on that, but I have not had great luck getting somebody to come out, even to give me a quote on what it would cost. And let's see. I think that was it for the list.
I just wonder if any of the bids came back for the, I guess bids went out.
Oh,
And-
yeah, so for the hockey rink, yeah, so
Correct.
we got one bidder and his price was way above what we had budgeted. So I think what we're looking at doing now, and there was kind of two parts to that project. One was addressing the fact that a lot of the posts had risen up a little bit, the footings for the posts that support the board that goes around
Yep.
around the ice rink. A lot of those had lifted. So the project was to get those flush, get them resecured, and then the other part was repainting the whole thing. And I think what we're going to do is separate the projects out. We're going to address the safety issue first, and then go on to the cosmetic, painting. Perhaps we can get more money at a different time, or utilize volunteers to paint, because the hockey folks have done a lot of work inside themselves, volunteering. They've rebuilt dasher boards and a number, and they actually, I think, painted the lines at one point. So we may be utilizing those volunteers to look at doing the cosmetic part of it and having a contractor do the safety portion of it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a quick question related to the report. So the Millwood Creek Disc Golf, that's the one off Heather Glen, right?
It is, yes.
What kind of improvements are you looking to make? You said some new baskets.
Yes.
Can there be some specifics on that?
Sure. So we are replacing all of the baskets. The golf course has been redesigned. Currently, I think there's like 21 holes out there, but they crisscross each other, and which is just not a safe situation. You don't want somebody walking across if you're throwing a Frisbee. They're headed to another tee and you're throwing to a basket. You could end up hitting somebody in the side of the head and have them getting hurt. So there's a local gentleman that is a disc golf course designer. He actually worked with the town of Norwich, and he volunteered his services, and he's been out a few times. He has come up with a new plan for 18 holes. There's no no crossovers, and we submitted that plan to the planning department because we needed to get approval for that. They have approved it, and we're getting ready to go out and mark the trees that will have to be removed in order to for this new alignment. We've ordered 18 new baskets. The park staff has put together a budget for building 16 tees. There's actually 2 tee boxes out there already that were done by an Eagle Scout a couple of years ago. So we're going to be replacing or constructing tee boxes. And we're also going to be getting signage out there, kind of a big map that shows the whole layout, and then, if you will, directional arrows at each of the tee boxes that kind of show the golfer which way, where the basket is and the distance. So, because they don't use a Frisbee like, we use in our backyard. They have specific discs for specific distances and things like that. So that's information that's typically printed on a sign in a disc golf course. It will tell you that the basket is 200 yards and it tails off to the right. So they need to know all that information. So that will also be part of the project. So there'll be new baskets, new tee boxes, and signage.
Awesome. Thank you for that update.
Sure.
And I went walking back in that area, and I'm not sure if looking around, there are some like trees that are holding on to other trees. So it might be worth having somebody look for safety there too, just to make sure nothing is going to come down on somebody when they're back there on a windy day or something.
Yes, it is. It's heavily treed. It's not your typical disc golf course. Usually there's kind of a mix of open space and trees, and this is pretty much, once you step into the tree line, you don't see any open space until you come up to the 18th hole.
Yeah, and some of the trees are, like I said, they're dead, or like there were pieces hanging on another tree, stuff like that. So just to be aware of that, we don't want any accidents.
No. Okay, I'm making a note of that. Thank you, Fran.
No problem. And one other question that I had, somebody asked me and I forgot, I'm not sure if it fits in here, but the basketball court repaving on Heather Glen, is that still in the works? Because I know we got an update, I think it was July.
Yes, so in about 2 weeks, you'll see equipment from Public Works there, and they are going to be tearing up the existing basketball court and repaving that. I probably will not get painted until the spring, because I think it's going to be too late in the season to properly apply paint, just given the temperature. So it will be newly paved this fall and painted in the spring.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Any
And
other
that's the
questions
project.
about reports?
What's that?
Any other questions about reports? Okay, any unfinished business?
Oh, well, actually, I did have a couple of reports on the golf course.
Okay,
Just to we met I think it was October 1st, and we have, each month we have a specific topic, and this particular topic for October is marketing. And we invited Jessica from Parks and Recreation to attend, and she updated us on what she's working with the videographer from the library, Sean Greeley. They've been out doing, getting some shots using the drone. They got a number of shots I guess it was in the spring when the airport was closed. There was a 2 or 3 day window where they're actually able to operate a drone. Normally they can't operate a drone at the golf course due to the proximity, but with it closed, they were able to get a bunch of shots, and they went back out and got some different shots. And so what they're going to be developing a series. I think Jessica said they had like 13 hours of video, which is amazing to me. And so they're going to be developing these short videos, 30-second clips, and trying with a particular theme. And they talked to the Golf Advisory Board, and a couple of themes that came up was it was a lifetime game, and it's also intergenerational, so you can play with your dad. And so they're going to go back in, and they've actually, I reached out to some folks that kind of fall into those categories, and I think they're planning on meeting them out there next week to get some more shots so that they can kind of have the people in the shot that support the message that they're trying to get out. Again, it's a lifetime game, and it's intergenerational. Trails Coordinating Task Force, they meet quarterly, so there's no update there. The athletic fields, they are meeting every 2 weeks, and I think they're pretty close to wrapping up, and will be making a presentation to the council probably sometime this fall. Agency accreditation, we had a team meeting on Monday morning to kind of go over where we are in the process, and that has kind of, I think, reignited everybody to get going on this. it's a lot of work, and but everybody has, I'm seeing all kinds of emails now, that all have to do with agency accreditation. So we're hopeful that we'll have this done sometime probably in February, so that we can submit our application to the NRPA and start the review process. It goes to a group of panelists, and they review all the documentation. And well, in previous years, they would have come out. I'm not sure where we're going to be with the pandemic, 6 months from now, whether people will be traveling or whether it will be a virtual visit. But I'll keep everybody up to date on that. And I think that's it for reports.
Okay, any unfinished business? New business?
Yeah, lots of new business.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So I think the first new business is the coastal access at Tanglewood Park. Hopefully the memo that I put together gave you a sense of the history without going into too much detail. But that site has been closed. The access road within the park has been closed since before I got here. And I'm not sure how much further back it goes. Apparently, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I do. I think around 1997, it was closed, primarily due to complaints from an abutter that people were using that as a place to party, that there was debris, yard waste that was being dumped kind of on the backside of their property. And so the town did put up a fence along the property line. That fence is still up. And I did go out there and visit with the town manager and saw no signs of any yard waste being dumped. And there was the brush has grown out from the fence since it was installed in 1997. And there is a small path that goes down in, and you can see a couple of beer cans. So I think, some people are still, I guess, using that as a spot to get together. It's not on the abutter's property, it's on the town side of the fence. So the reason that I brought this all up was because somebody had reached out to me and said, hey, why is this closed? And my response was, well, it's been closed since I've been here, and it was my understanding that it was closed because of complaints from a neighbor and what was taking place. So he said, well, I think it's about time that it opened up again. And the town manager said that he wanted to get input from the Parks and Recreation Commission on their thoughts on reopening this coastal access spot.
So I'm happy to weigh in. I actually live very near here, very near Tanglewood, like the cross street. If you look on the map, I'm on Brookview. So we, it's so funny because we actually put our kayaks in there all the time, and I never even thought about it as being closed because we walk our kayaks in, we have the wheels on the bottom, and we just go around the chain that's there. And I never considered it being closed. So for me, I think that especially in light of reviewing your strategic plan and the pillars that you've outlined for the Parks and Rec department, one of them being social equity, I think if if you were to continue to keep it closed, it would be in direct opposition of that social equity pillar.
Yeah.
It's a coastal access point, and really all it's doing is restricting it from access for motorized vehicles and people outside of that neighborhood. So just like my husband and I can walk there and take our kayaks there, anybody in that neighborhood can do the same thing. And I've seen lots of people put in there. And again, it's because they're walking their kayaks. So it's inequitable to leave it closed to the general public and allow the neighborhood in the general area to continue to use it.
Yeah, and Angela made a good point. So it's not a boat launch where I tried to show it on the memo that I sent. There's like a squiggly line, and then it circles around. So there's a roundabout, but the roundabout it's not right at the water's edge. There's probably 30 feet between the closest portion of the roundabout to the water and the water itself. And from the edge of the roundabout down to the water, it probably drops another 8 to 10 feet. So it's not level. And Angela made a good point, and I'm glad she brought that up, was that it's not really designed for boats on trailers. It strictly would be canoes and kayaks and a windsurfer or something like that. So I think if we were going to open it up, there would have to be signage. One, they can't park down there, that it's not for motorized vehicle, the boat launch is not for motorized vehicles. It's, canoes and kayaks only. I think at one time, perhaps boats were trying to use it, and just because of the change in elevation, and I read some old correspondence from years ago, and they talked about how it had been eroded and the grass had been torn up and things like that. So I think if we do open it up, I think we need to make it explicitly clear that this particular coastal access point is not for motorized vehicles.
I mean, I don't think you could put a boat in there. It's very shallow. There's
Right.
There's nowhere for, I can't see how they would put a boat in there safely anyway.
And it's subject to tidal influence. So at some point, like Angela said, it gets pretty shallow. My wife and I have kayaked in there, and it's not particularly deep.
I'm thinking on the signage, Mark, would it make sense you're talking about no motorized vehicles. Would you also extend that to no motorized watercraft?
Well, yeah,
I'm thinking jet
yes.
skis, which
Yes,
are a real problem on Palmer Cove.
Right, yeah. And access, even if they get into that cove, they can't really go all that far because there's the bridge that goes to Groton Long Point, and at certain times, I don't know that you could, other than a canoe or kayak, I'm not sure you could get anything with the water up high. I'm not sure you could get anything under that bridge anyway. So.
I'm not too familiar with that area. Are there places nearby for people to park their cars? So when they walk their vehicle or walk their watercraft down, they have a place to leave their car nearby?
At the top of the access road, and it is paved, not a road, we'll call it an access drive. There is probably 4 or 5 parking spots within the park. And I'm not sure about on-road parking.
There is probably room for maybe 1 or 2 cars on road that's not directly in front of somebody's home.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is actually, since I've been here, this is the first time that I'm aware that anybody has said, hey, why can't I get down there? I think it's, 1997, 96 that this took place. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 2007. So it's been 14 years that it's been closed. So I don't know if somebody wants to make a motion so that, I mean,
I'm happy, yeah. I'll make a motion that we reopen the coastal access point at Tanglewood Park.
I'll second that emotion.
I second the motion.
Yep.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Can you hear me?
Yes.
We
I
hear
don't know if I'm
you.
muted or not.
No, we can hear you loud and clear.
My husband was like talking to me, so I'm muting and unmuting, and I don't even know which one I am anymore.
You're doing,
Sorry if you hear me talking to my husband.
no, that's all
No,
right.
we haven't.
Okay, so we have motion, second motion, unanimous decision. We're good?
Yes. All right, so next is a review of the draft strategic plan. I don't know if there's any comments for that document.
I will say that I like that you've outlined the pillars of what you're looking to accomplish. I find them to be in line with the vision, as well as really making, you know, I think I've shared this with you before, that I think Parks and Rec is a part of the town ecosystem of services that I think is particularly important. And so it kind of drives a sense of place, a sense of home, and it also kind of attracts other people to live here. So I think that those pillars really support creating a department that will really drive developing a sense of place and home and culture within the Groton area.
Oh, don't you just love her?
So anyways, yeah, I like them.
All right.
Mark, I have just one question, and that
Sure.
is with the vision statement.
Yes,
Groton is a community where everyone feels welcome and included and has an opportunity to live, work, and play. And I was just wondering, in a healthy environment, I
think,
guess I'm stuck on the and a
Mhm.
healthy environment.
Yeah, I
As
assumed it was
opportunity
supposed to
to
be.
live, work, and play, and a healthy environment.
yeah,
I-
that's
Is it
just,
supposed to be safe and healthy? Usually they go together.
well,
Work and play
I don't-
I think the in might be in a safe and a healthy environment. The and I would remove, or
yeah, I
at
would
least
agree.
just
I would agree
discuss
that
it or
the
something.
right. Yeah, because that just doesn't,
Kind of hangs out there by itself.
yeah, I agree. I'm not an English major, but grammatically, I don't think that is, I don't think that's correct.
Okay.
I think it'd be good to put safe in there if it's not in there already. Safe and healthy.
Yep. Okay.
So play in a safe and healthy environment.
Yes. Okay,
I'm going to put that in the notes.
excellent.
Oh, good. I have
So-
2 questions on page 2, Mark.
Yes,
I think it's just a typo in Roman numeral 5 at the top of the page. I assume that's collaborate.
Mhm.
yep,
And then the next section, Roman numeral 2, use low maintenance material settings or other value engineering considerations that reduced care and security. Security doesn't seem to be something we want to reduce.
right. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that. something got dropped or missed or something.
Setting.
Is the
Yeah.
intent of that one reducing, so using low maintenance materials ultimately to have safer, longer lasting equipment, right? That's the intent?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not sure if something got missed there or not.
Well, maybe enhanced security, maybe it's reduced care and enhanced security.
Perfect.
Oh,
That
wow.
sounds good.
Man, you guys are good.
I'm sorry, where is this so I can put it in the notes?
Section C.
C2.
C2,
Yep.
actual number 2 or Roman numeral 2?
Roman
Roman
numeral.
I think it's
numeral.
Roman numerals, right? Okay, and what's the wording?
We're
Reduce
adding,
care
sorry.
and enhance security.
Renew and enhance security?
No, reduce care and enhance security,
Okay,
right?
okay.
Okay.
So in the next one, in Roman numeral 3, you either need a comma or a conjunction.
Where?
So provide adequate resources to maintain existing facilities in a safe, clean, attractive manner. So,
Oh, so after clean?
yep, I would put and.
Okay.
So add and to 3.
In the increasing advocacy, letter A, this sentence is weird. I don't have a better way to put it. I understand what you're trying to say, but these words are very awkward, the way they're assembled.
Okay.
Which letter A is this?
Under
That
increased
under-
advocacy. So educate the community on the power of their voice and understand how their voice can be heard. So do you want to understand how the community's voice can be heard, or do you want the community to know that their voice can be heard?
Yes.
Which one?
Number
So and
2,
help them
yes.
understand?
We want them to know that their voice can be heard.
So how about
Educate the community and help them
empower?
understand?
Okay. So can somebody repeat?
So I was saying, what about educate and empower the community to help shape change?
Educate.
And empower. Yeah, I do like that. Educate. and
Oh,
empower
yeah, all
the
right.
community.
Help shape change. Got it.
Wait a minute. I'm not sure that I have it. Okay. So educate and empower the community on the power of their voice.
No, educate and empower the community to help shape change.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Oh, that's,
I like that.
wow.
And staying with that thought,
I like
I
that.
would-
too. Okay.
I would suggest that the title for number 2, instead of increase advocacy, to use promote advocacy.
Yes, yeah, I think that's a better word.
Okay. Educate and empower the community to help shape change. Okay. All right.
And then
Did you get number 2, Mark, the chain promote
I've
advocacy?
got that down.
Yes, yep, promote
Okay.
advocacy, yep.
And then just we go down to B, set goals and identify resources needed to reach community needs. Do you want to fulfill the community needs, or do you want to reach underserved communities?
Well, actually, I think both. I think right here we're saying, and I think maybe we've got too many needed, set goals and identify resources to reach community needs. I think if we took needed out. And
Well, I think so. Set goals and identify resources, staff, and facilities to understand and fulfill community needs.
okay,
What number is this now?
This
3?
is letter B,
2B,
2B, yeah.
or not 2B.
Good question.
Mhm.
okay. So set goals and identify resources, staff, facilities to understand and
Fulfill,
fulfill, yes, community needs.
yeah.
Okay.
Use the Pratt Building as a model for importance of investing in facilities. There's got to be a better way to say that. Use Pratt Building as a model for importance. Oh, well.
Well, maybe if we just take out importance, use Pratt Building as a model of investing in facilities.
Yeah.
Does that sound better? Okay.
Yeah.
Fran, did you get that?
And that is to
to
C,
C.
right?
C?
Yeah.
Yes. So we're taking out for importance, and it now reads, use Pratt Building as a model of investing in facilities.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Skip down to 4C, Roman numeral 3. So it says refine program offerings to include offerings that are relevant to the community while ceasing the all things to all people programming mentality, which is good, but using offerings twice is redundant. So I would just say refine program offerings to only include those that are relevant to the community.
Yeah.
We include those. Taking out
Refine
Angela,
program offering.
Okay.
Got it.
refine program offerings to only include those relevant and taking out that are.
Nope, I would say refine program offerings to only include those that are relevant to the community
Oh, okay.
while ceasing the all things to all people programming mentality. That part is good. It's just that the offerings was a bit redundant.
Okay.
And I wanted it to be clear, like that's what you're going to focus on. And so adding only
Yep.
would kind of streamline that.
Okay.
In D, Roman numeral 2, I'm assuming that should be brand guidelines instead of band guidelines.
Oh, I didn't tell you, we're starting a band.
I have a tambourine.
What number is
No,
that?
we had you
B2
as
for,
lead singer.
Oh, nobody would pay us. No.
so B2 brand instead of band.
Yes.
Yeah, Delta 2, yep.
Oh, Delta 2, got it, thank you.
D, Roman numeral 2.
So on, what is that, 4C, utilize program under 4C, number Roman numeral 4, utilize program evaluations to gain insight. I use program and evaluations to assess community interests and perceived unmet needs.
Yeah, I think that's a stronger
Mhm.
statement.
Like, you know, you gain insight is kind of feathery, or
Okay.
I want to assess it.
Utilize program
So assess
evaluation.
instead of gain insight into.
Okay. So we're just taking out
All
gain
right.
insight and putting assess.
4C4, okay.
To assess community needs, you're taking out gain insight into.
Oh, okay. To assess community interest.
Interests and perceived
Okay. All right.
needs or perceived unmet needs.
Yeah, it says unmet.
I would think just needs, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of redundant, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a need is unmet, right?
correct.
So just get rid of the word unmet.
Yes.
Perceived needs. Okay.
So established brand, okay, I can fix that. D2.
Would it be more effective in Delta 1 to say evaluate messaging in terms of customer perception instead of how the messages are received by the customers?
Where are you, Angela?
Delta, so section 4, subsection Delta, Roman numeral 1.
Thank you.
Mm.
So evaluate messaging in terms of customer perception.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah.
Say again where you are. Please.
Section 4, subsection delta, Roman numeral 1.
41, okay.
Yep.
And what do you want to change it to?
Evaluate messaging in terms of customer perception. Mark, when you talk about the workforce, are you saying that you're going to monitor workload and staffing needs to maintain a skilled, efficient workforce based on community needs? So when you say that, are you saying that their skills are based on community needs, or that staffing levels are based on community needs?
Staffing levels.
Okay. I think that you should just use the term staffing levels.
Okay, so take out needs and,
Make it levels.
Yeah, I would say so. Monitor workload and staffing needs.
oh, okay,
Hold on, let me rework that one. Hold on.
okay.
So I would say ensure staffing. Oh, hold on.
Those really,
Go ahead.
those are really two different things, the workload and the staffing levels. So
Right.
I think keeping them together makes sense.
So how about monitor workload and staffing to ensure adequate support based on customer demand?
Based on customer demand.
And you put, yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate it. And say like optimal levels of,
So monitor workload and staffing based on customer demand.
Wait, no, it's monitor workload and staffing needs to ensure adequate support based on customer demand.
Yeah.
I think that's what I heard.
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
All right.
Cool.
Would provide training, is that just one time? Is that going to be continual
Ongoing.
training? So I would indicate that ongoing training.
Well, it's initial and ongoing. You know, when you're onboarding
Yeah.
new employees.
Oh, yep, good point.
So B, initial and ongoing training.
Yep.
Provide initial and ongoing training, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of self-directed in G and golf, I would say support empowered teams that self-advocate for programs and activities of specialized interest.
Can you repeat that, please?
Just replace self-directed with empowered. You can get rid of updated language in hotel. So revise job descriptions to be more up to date and include updated language. That second updated, that's unnecessary, I think.
Yep. So it's just include language that supports a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce.
Mhm.
Actually, I'd make that a little bit more declarative. You don't want to be talking about needing that your job descriptions are out of date, which is what that sentence suggests. So I think you want to say job descriptions will be updated
Yeah,
regularly, reviewed and updated regularly.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a great point, Elizabeth.
Okay, so can somebody,
Job descriptions
okay, so, yep,
will be reviewed and updated
okay.
to support a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce. You can take out the language.
Okay. So job descriptions will be reviewed and updated to support a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce.
That was what I was thinking.
Okay.
In section 7, do you mean maintaining current, so it says protect natural resources and infrastructure by implementing and maintaining policies and practices. What kind of policies and practices? Like, are you just, like, are there no current policies and practices? Are there specific policies and practices? You know,
Yeah, I think the example that I could give was the recycling and zero waste, which is new. That's not something, we didn't have a policy for that. And so that was recently adopted. I think the commission looked at that maybe back in July. So that's a new practice or policy.
so maybe we, so maybe you add a couple phrases in there. So protect natural resources and infrastructure by implementing and maintaining policies and practices that aim, ugh.
How about just
You
protect
could just add
natural?
environmentally friendly.
Yeah, something like that.
I was going for simple.
Yeah,
Implement and maintain policies that protect natural resources.
oh yeah, just reverse it.
Yeah. And then you have the A through D
As the examples.
about how you're
Mhm.
going to be doing it.
Okay, so implement and maintain policies that protect.
You're just reversing it. Implement and maintain policies and practices that protect natural resources and infrastructure, if you
Okay.
want to the distance there.
Okay.
Practices for recycling and zero waste, maintain Audubon sanctuary status.
Okay.
Good.
Wow.
You know what I noticed, Mark, when hiking, that that there are, I guess it's the rec department that's put up these bat houses.
No,
Okay, I thought it was,
no,
but that.
we don't like bats. Yeah,
Especially not in the Belfry.
yeah. What, Dom, where were you walking when you noticed those?
Oh, there's a trail. I thought it was in a collaboration with the town and the state. It's over near the Marriott, the Mystic Marriott off of 117.
Huh. Yeah, no, that's not,
That's not one of your parks there?
that's not one of ours.
Trails?
No. Uh-uh.
Okay.
No,
The Nature Conservancy?
yeah, that could be.
I think it is.
Yeah. Okay, so what
Anyway.
I'm gonna, if it's okay with the commission, what I'm gonna do is go back and make all the changes to this, and then you will see this at the next commission meeting, because this is one of the documents that to meet agency accreditation has to show that it was reviewed and approved. So I would ask that at the next meeting, because there's so many changes, rather than saying, yes, we accept this based on the changes made, I'd rather refine it and bring it back to you and say, okay, how does this look? And can I get a motion to approve it? Does that sound all right?
Yep,
Good
Okay.
idea.
me it does.
So anyway, before we jump on to the next thing, I just want to thank you all for going through this. I think the changes were excellent, and this is a really important document. So thank you for spending the time to look at this. And to let you know, we intend actually to take this and create it into kind of a little bit more sexy document. We're going to put some graphics in here, and I think we're actually going to reach out and have a graphic designer try to create something nice that we can put on the town's new website. Look for us under citizens, not under departments. And we will get the files for this, so we'll be able to, as changes occur, we'll be able to update this and have it available for people to see. So that's kind of the plan for this particular document. So thank you. All right. Review of the trends report. So this is another agency accreditation requirement. This is a cobbled together report based on information from a number of different sources, and I cited the sources at the end. It comes from national surveys. Some of the information comes out of the most recent Plan of Conservation Development, which was in 2016. There's information that was presented in the most recent needs assessment. So it's, and I meant to, and I apologize, I meant to, usually when I send out something for review under agency accreditation, I send the standard and I send the evidence of compliance. And I realized after I had sent this out a few days later that I had failed to do that. So, but the goal, the standard is that the department is responsible and has to show proof that they do an analysis of trends. So that's what this document is meant to show, that have done an analysis of different things that take place within the department. And Don, you had caught, I think, a couple of things in here. One was a spelling mistake, I believe.
Yeah, it was after 35 35,000 somewhere. Can't remember where it is.
Oh, it's on page 2 under department profile, the second paragraph.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that should be grants, not grant. Was that the mistake?
No, it's a
No, the
scholarship.
state was scholarship, it's spelled wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
And you're right, it should be grants, plural.
Yeah, okay.
So, in the second paragraph, you have where it says, in the last sentence, it says big three. And I think, and maybe some other folks on the commission could, I think that colon should be inside that parentheses. I think the parentheses
Okay.
always goes outside.
Side.
See where it says big three?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure of that, but I'm not
Okay.
100%.
Well, English is my second language, so I will.
I mean, I don't even think you need a colon. I think you just need a comma, but yes, it would go in the parentheses.
Right.
Okay.
Or the quotation marks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure you need a colon there, huh?
Yeah, I think just
Probably.
a comma will do.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
All right.
Mark, is that statistic for the youth athletics? Is that Oh, it is. It's nationwide. That makes me sad. Only 38% of kids played a sport.
Yes, that is. Which page is that on?
Sorry, I'm a fast reader, so that is 1, 2, 3.
I noticed the pages aren't numbered, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
That's on page 7.
Page 7. Let's see. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, there's a graph of karate at the top of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, that is true.
Oh,
Shocking.
Yeah.
it's very shocking.
Yeah. And it's, they identified further down, they identified all of the different reasons.
Mm.
Sports have become increasingly expensive to participate in, which creates barriers for a lot of people to play. And I think there's a lot of pressure to perform that's put on kids, and at a much too young. I mean, I can't tell you. I've been in the recreation field for almost 30 years, and I can't tell you the number of times I have heard, "Well, my kid's a gifted player," and they're 7 years old, and so it's unfortunate. And I think there's a lot of pressure from parents on kids, and a lot of kids, I can give a personal example. My daughter played on a traveling basketball. She played basketball in high school for 2 years and played on a traveling team. And, we went all over New England and played in tournaments. And come her junior year, she said, "Well, I don't want to play anymore because I don't." She didn't like the girls that she was playing with. She loved the sport, but so she left basketball because she just there was just too much pressure, and she didn't like who she was playing with. So anyway, so that is true. That's a up-to-date statistic.
So on the second page, the last paragraph
Yes.
begins with
Obtaining
begins with obtaining feedback.
Mhm.
All right, the sentence, that first sentence, you have SWOT. What is that?
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Threats. Yes.
What is it?
Strengths,
Strength, weakness,
weaknesses,
opportunities,
and
and
threats.
threats.
Oh, okay. And where do you use that? And then in parentheses, put SWOT.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dom. I don't think we
So
had
like
spelled that out previously.
So I feel like that's a common framework used. It's not necessarily, I think that most organizations understand that's how it's referred to. You don't ever say strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's the framework. You call it, that's the framework name is SWOT analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought anytime that you use something like that, I guess in academia, you want to reference something. So that's, I guess, where I'm coming from.
Well, it's not necessarily it's not an acronym. Like even
It sounds like an
it
acronym.
It really is.
It is an acronym.
But it isn't, right? So when you talk about it, like you don't ever just say SWOT. It's a SWOT analysis.
That's true.
I
Okay.
mean,
I think
yes,
if it's something
technically,
people are going to read who aren't familiar with that, there's no harm in clarifying it.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, I was just curious, that's all.
Yeah.
It's, not knowing and not being in the business field or whatever, so just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
Yeah, no, I noted it, Dom, and I will, we can put that in there.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but the page that has the graphic for fitness programs, I think it's 11. It's the whole section on baby boomers.
mhm.
Yes,
The paragraph that starts off with AARP research,
yes.
there's a thought that didn't get completed in that paragraph at the bottom. The Technology Center.
Oh, yep, you're right. Okay. Good catch. Okay.
And should it be students from the high school?
Yes.
And I think I mentioned, Mark, to you about the adult fitness. I see flag football, I see ultimate frisbee, kickball, dodgeball. I don't see pickleball anywhere. And you probably have over 100 people per week playing it. And I don't see it in the fitness and wellness participation chart. And it certainly brings in, a good amount of money.
Yes.
It's right before festivals and events. It's mentioned there.
Where is that?
Yeah, it was.
Right before festivals and events on page 12, I think.
Festivals and events.
I have it on page 12. It's the middle paragraph.
Yeah, I thought, I was sure that we put something in there about,
Oh yeah, right here, following the national trend, pickleball has exploded in Groton.
it really shouldn't be, well, actually,
Festivals and events.
It's the page with the trips graphic.
Okay, yeah.
That begs an interesting point. So you have the adult recess and then you have the boomers separated out. So is adult recess targeted at like millennials and Gen X?
yes.
All right, maybe that could be included in parentheses, that that's including that age demographic.
All right. Can you say that again? Sorry.
I would just, the adult recess, I would just put something in there about adult recess attracting millennials and Gen X, just because, I mean, boomers are also adults, right? I mean,
Right,
baby
yeah.
boomers.
Yeah.
And that might clarify for you, Dom, too, like why pickleball is not in the adult sports. It's like the adult recess, that's
Yeah,
the millennials and the Gen X.
Yeah, and I think probably too, moving the trips section, because the trips kind of break up the whole discussion about fitness. So
Mhm.
I think that's makes it a little bit confusing. So I think the trips information and the chart ought to be pulled and dropped down probably to just above festivals and events, just so it flows a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
Yep.
yeah, I actually, I don't see that like pickleball being under festivals and events.
No, that's what I'm
Nah, it's
saying
just
is that
above.
Right,
we're gonna
but,
move it to
and you're
fitness program.
missing you're missing a lot of participants in it too, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, well, it does say, yeah, we could talk about, and in fact, we might be able to go back and create a chart that shows the changes in pickleball participation.
No, I just mean the fitness, where you have fitness programs and you have programs for older adults. And are those numbers inclusive of the people participating in pickleball? Probably not.
Yeah, I would have to check on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, the fitness programs are more, the Zumbas and, those types of programs.
so
Is
would those
pickleball
be,
considered more a fitness program or is it a sport like soccer would be?
Yeah, I think it falls more under the sport category than,
think
than a Zumba or a cardio health class or.
so if you look in the senior center, it falls under fitness. When you look under the senior center programming.
Program guide, it falls under fitness.
Yeah, if you might want to check that,
Okay,
check that.
okay,
Yeah, is it fitness or is it a sport? Is it,
right,
I don't,
yep. Okay,
Mark, on that same page with the trips graphic, that
Yeah.
paragraph that starts programming for older adults, the last sentence just kind of doesn't finish.
oh yeah, it tails off, doesn't it? Okay. See, I had to throw a few things in just to see if you guys were, how much,
If we're really doing our homework,
yeah, how
okay,
much
Dad.
attention you were paying to all this. So, I'm going to give you all an A for this evening.
Well, since we're on a roll here, the page with the fitness programs graphic,
Yeah,
that paragraph that starts about AARP research. The
yeah,
text, oh, I already did that.
yes.
Now I'm having a senior moment, forgive me.
All right, I'm dropping your grade down to a B.
Oh, how will I tell my mother?
So if you go to let's see, the important performance matrix, and right underneath it, a paragraph begins with the department has an ADA transition program.
Yeah,
Read the sentence. The department has an ADA transition plan in place as is making investment
yeah, that's,
in various, I don't get that.
yeah,
It's not,
it's not very good English.
And
no,
it's followed by an incomplete sentence.
Oh, yeah, add another.
yeah,
Another
yeah,
department.
yeah.
I think that was a,
I think that's a SWAT.
yeah.
That was supposed to be a joke, Mark. Okay, got it, okay.
Yeah, I got it now.
Adaptive recreation, the department has an established. There's got to be a better way to say adaptive recreation and inclusion. Not that particularly, but the sentence and wording underneath that, where it says the department has an established commitment to adaptive programming and has enjoyed steady participation in various adaptive programs offered. There's got to be a better way to say what I think you're trying to say. Adaptive programs that have been recognized for their uniqueness include. There's a simpler way to say that.
Okay,
I'm not sure what it is, but there's got to be.
The department has an
Separate out the
established,
sentences.
yeah, the department has an established commitment to adaptive programming, period.
Right.
They've enjoyed steady participation in various programs and have been recognized for uniqueness in kayaking, rowing, and karate programs.
Bang, bang. That's it right there.
okay.
You might have to do the Shinnecock golf course all over again. Trends at the golf course have mirrored what has been occurring across golf industry. Rounds have been decreasing and membership numbers have been decreasing.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was written before COVID took place, didn't it?
yeah,
I would
Oh,
hesitate
no.
to change it though. I mean, it's based on historical data, the 2019. And
Right.
although we've seen a bump in numbers because of COVID, we don't know if they're going to be sustainable.
Right, I think it should be mentioned though.
yeah, and
You
we,
could always mention that it was an uptick for this summer.
yeah, we did, in the paragraph below, we did talk about some changes that we made and how that has impacted both membership and rounds played.
Because those changes were made in February, weren't they? It seems to me we had a meeting where we had the,
Yeah, we
yeah.
did
Yeah.
address changes
Right.
this
Yeah.
year.
Yes, it was February, because that's usually about the time that the commission will look at, will take recommendations from the Golf Advisory Board to make changes to rates and whatnot. So yes, it was February.
Well, I think we've torn it apart pretty good.
Yes. Thank you.
Actually, I think it's gonna be a really complete document
Oh,
when you
yeah.
guys are finished with it, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Anybody else see anything that needs to be changed or?
No, I think we've done a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah, comprehensive.
So this item was not on the agenda, and I did send it out earlier today. And again, this is to meet an agency accreditation requirement. We have to have documentation that certain things were approved by a governing body, which would, in this instance, be the Parks and Rec Commission, and that is acceptance of the vision, mission statement, our inclusion statement, and we threw in the 4 pillars. These are, I think, all things that you've seen repeatedly in different documents, but we don't have any documentation that it was actually approved by the commission. So we threw all of these things onto one page in hopes that the commission tonight would approve. And I've noted that there was a change to the vision statement. There was a couple words left out. So I don't know if there's any questions about this.
What are the parts you need us to approve again? The vision, the mission statement, the pillars, and what else?
The inclusion statement. And these, all of these have appeared in previous, well, in numerous documents, in our program guide, in our strategic plan, and in other things. We're constantly mentioning the pillars, and I think the mission statement is on the webpage.
Yeah, well, the vision needs to be corrected, but other than that, I think it looks good.
Okay.
That's it too.
And we kind of have,
Where is the inclusion statement? Is that in the strategic plan?
I'm pretty sure that it's been in the Discover magazine before.
Okay.
So it's appeared in different documents, and I think it's available on the website.
Okay.
So if everybody's okay with it, I would just need someone to make a motion.
Well, I'm pulling up the inclusion statement. I don't remember it from the top of my head. Do any of you?
Oh,
Okay.
Fran, Mark sent it as a separate attachment.
Oh, I didn't get that. Let me see.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
I misunderstood what you were
today?
asking. Yeah.
yeah, I sent it.
This morning, I think.
Well, sometime, yeah, it might have been afternoon.
I don't have the separate thing.
Because I send it out to the entire
Let me try
commission.
again.
Here, Fran, I can just share my screen. I have it up right now.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Oh, never mind. Mark disabled screen sharing.
Oh,
I've been having trouble with my emails somehow. Sometimes they don't show up until the next day. I don't know what's going on. I need to get a different email.
I did not disable that on purpose. I don't even know how to do that. So let's see.
I found the email.
Oh,
I
okay.
just had to look. I had to search your name and it came up.
Oh, okay.
Is the inclusion only related to disabilities or varying ability levels?
I think this is targeted towards, well, it does say varying levels of ability.
Should it be ability and background or varying backgrounds and levels of ability?
Oh, I
Like,
see.
are we just thinking about levels of ability or are we making a statement about diversity too?
Yeah, I think the department is actively involved in DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and I think you'll see probably a different statement coming out that addresses, that is separate from this inclusion statement.
Okay, so inclusion is only looking at ability and it's not related to diversity.
Yes, looking at this statement, yes, I would say that it is not addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion
Okay.
based on anything other than ability.
Okay. If that's purpose, then I just wanted to make sure we were
Sure.
on that page.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure out how that is connected to the pillars. Now, underneath the inclusion statement, you have the 4 pillars. So how does that inclusion statement connected to social equity? To me, it's not. You know, I get the fact that we do a lot with the ADA, but that the ADA is also a part of diversity, which is what Fran was saying as well.
Right, right. Well, I think it could fall under the health and wellness because we talk about by offering accessible recreation programming. And so offering accessible recreation programming would, including those with varying levels of ability, would fall under accessible recreation.
So I think I see what Donna and Fran are saying as far as the statement itself, like just talking about the varying levels of ability and leaving out the rest of like the background. Because what you're saying, you know, the department makes all programs, services, and activities equally available to children and adults with disabilities. It's fine. Makes special effort to be welcoming to all citizens, supports efforts to affirm the dignity of all participants, strives to enhance each individual's potential for full and active participation, and then provides specialized programs. So, I mean, you've got 2 bullets in there that specifically mention disabilities or varying levels of ability, but the other 3 are really, to me, very broad and could apply to all levels of diversity, equity, inclusion. So when you're talking about DE&I, so I think if we just amend the inclusion statement to mention backgrounds, cultures, you know, or something,
Socioeconomic levels.
right. I mean, you could even just kind of take that out and just say Groton Parks and Recreation recognizes the value of including all people as a means of strengthening our community.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because then you have the bullets
Yeah.
underneath.
Yeah, now that fits, you know.
Okay.
Or we could put value of including all citizens, although I suppose some people aren't legally citizens, so,
Right. Yeah, we have.
yeah,
Yes.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the inclusion statement with obviously the changes that were made.
I second that.
So be it.
Okay. Wow, that was a record. Dom, you want to wrap this up, or I don't know
No,
about you.
it's,
When you
nah.
get to be my age, it's already past my bedtime.
Oh, so long ago.
Tell me about it.
I got an early meeting in the morning too.
Ugh.
So I think I lost the agenda somewhere in all these documents that are
Okay.
in front of me. But I think our next
The
meeting, I
next
thought,
step is
was
November's meeting.
November 11th.
Yep.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I don't think we have anything else to say or do, but make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
Motion.
I second it.
All right.
Look forward to seeing everybody
Yeah.
next time.
Sometime
Have a
soon.
good night, everybody.
Yes.
Have a good
Thank
Bye,
you
night.
all very
folks.
much. I
Stay
appreciate it.
safe.
Thank you.